Hiya, my name's Keira Forsythe, this is Stumpy, and this is our latest video. So today's a little bit different than what we've done before. I've also just woke up from a nap, so we're fresh faced. Look at that glow, that's skincare gold. We've got no makeup. I've got creases on my face because I lie in these stupidest positions, and I'm hoping you can't see that I've got like a red line all along here because I basically slept with my lip like pushed up. I literally wake up for breakfast, have a nap, because like I've got to recover from the ordeal. Is there something wrong with me? Probably, but I don't think that's my main issue. So I do apologise if I'm scaring women and children with this current look, but I woke up from my nap, heard a knock at the door, and I've been expecting this parcel, so I was like, oh, I'm just gonna have to go for it. So here we go. I should have probably waited to open the box. I didn't think it would be that interesting watching me open a box one-handed, but looking at the dodgy job I made of it, it probably would have been quite interesting. So I think it says a lot when monkeys can open a box, and this is my attempt. I managed to pull the item out anyway, so it was effective, but this is the work of about 10 minutes and a pair of scissors, and then I just got to the point where I went full on caveman and thought I'll just rip it open. So maybe I should have filmed that, and it would have upped the content value. So you might be thinking, what was in this box? And the answer is my new prosthetic, which I'm so excited about. This has been a few months now in the making. We first spoke about doing this probably in September, but I had a revision to my arm, so second amputation in October, so there was no point measuring me up for it. So let me explain to you now the process to get this prosthetic, and then I'll show you it. So the first step in getting your new prosthetic, a sleeve. This is called a liner, like I think that's its proper term, but I always call it a sleeve or a sock by accident, so I do apologise if I flip through them. The whole purpose of that is that, one, it protects your arm from friction, and two, it also stops your prosthetic sliding off. It's got like a sticky-ish layer that stops the whole thing from just sliding off, because depending what you're using it for, that would be a nightmare. This should be probably the easiest step of the prosthetics journey, but Stumpy, that's him tensing, look at that bicep. He's not exactly wham. I've always had quite like skinny arms. My legs are a bit better than they used to be, but I'm not exactly like built. I'm not challenging the Rock anytime soon. So most prosthetic socks basically are quite narrow at the bottom, and then they go quite wide at the top, because they're designed primarily for below knee amputees. So the bottom of their stump is narrow where their knee would have been, and then their thighs obviously quite large. The issue with mine is that Stumpy, if anything, is slightly wider than the top of my arm, and they don't design them to go narrow or straight. They're all like a V shape. So I had to have mine custom made. Is life ever simple with me? Rarely. So I have to get mine made by a company that makes children's sockets and sleeves. Bit of a knock to my ego. I've been hitting the gym and still in a child size. But do you know what? We move. There's bigger issues. So I think from my elbow to the end of Stumpy is just over 7 centimetres. I think it used to be just under 10, but obviously he's had a little bit more off. And they basically take the width, measure it all up, send it to the firm, and they send me this. So I'll hold it up now. This is it inside out, and there's a reason I store it like this, and I'll explain now. So it's got that sort of shiny coating, and the only way I know how to describe it is, you know those toy aliens everyone has as a child, or like those squidgy toys that you like move and they move in your hands? That sort of like sticky-ish texture. Like this has got, this is so disgusting, it's got a couple of cat hairs on it. trying to get them off is a nightmare. Like as soon as it touches the surface, it picks up whatever's on it. So I do store it in a plastic bag. I'm meant to store it the other way round, but it's quite hard to put back this way round to put it on, so I just leave it like this. It's quite a thick material. The bit that's actually the outside is like a knitted, almost fleecy material, and then this sticky side goes on Stumpy. So let me put this on. This is probably going to be the most entertaining part of the video, so please enjoy watching me struggle. I'm utilising my knee for this. So for this you need a stump and a sleeve. It's like a really rubbish art attack. It's the things no one ever has in the house, but they tell you clearly will. So Stumpy goes on the end and then we roll it. These, they are designed for arms, but you can see why the original concept was made for legs, because you would have two arms to roll it on if you were just a leg amputee, and it'd be so much easier. So I've learned to use my knee basically as my second hand to roll it on. The more I do this, the more it'll get easier, but at the moment I haven't really had a use for it, so I haven't been doing it much. A slight design flaw. One, it's not really my shade, but I mean, who's going to hate a tan? Second issue, this writing on it. So it says willow wool, and the first time I had a photo in this, people messaged me, my friends messaged me about a tattoo, and I was like, I'd like to hope I gave off the vibe that this isn't the tattoo idea I would go for, but thank you for making me reevaluate my life decisions. So you've got your sock on. It's literally custom built. You can see at the top there's like, it's on Stumpy, whereas the ones you get that like the standard sizes have probably got about this much space for the small. So now you've got your liner. Now you go for casting. So you go for your appointments. It's basically almost like a mummy sort of thing, or if you've ever had an actual cast on like a broken limb. They wet these sort of bandages and then they wrap it round. It hardens to form like the shape of your arm. It gets all the like nooks and crannies around your elbow, the bone at the end, and that basically then gets sent off. They fill that cast with, I don't even know what the material is. It's like, it basically ends up almost looking like a statue of Stumpy, and then they can then use that for all my future prosthetics unless I have any more procedures done, and that is like the perfect size for my arm. So I went for the cast appointment, which is my favourite of all the appointments. I always say it, and it's so stupid, but it feels like a really nice warm hug on Stumpy. It's like having a hot towel or something after you've just been outside, like it's just toasty. So he gets his little cast on. That then gets sent off and they produce my socket. So the socket is the actual bit that goes onto Stumpy. And I'll show you that now because that is what's arrived today. So this is my final product, available in stores worldwide. And there's a specific reason I need this. So the other prosthetic I've had is a gym arm. I'm getting a new one built right now using the cast I made for this prosthetic. So I'll show you that when it arrives. But this is my TaeKwonDo prosthetic. So for those of you who don't know, that's my sport, that's what I love to do, it's Taekwondo. And in Taekwondo you wear body protectors, you have like forearm guards, but there's nothing designed for Stumpy. You can put a forearm guard on, but it just doesn't do the same thing because it's not made for that job. So I spoke to my prosthetics team because Stumpy was getting a little bit bruised, and I said during training there's no point in him really getting injured, so is there anything we can do? And they made this. I've never seen one before. I have looked up and I couldn't find one, so we basically came up with our own design for this, but maybe it is a thing. So on the inside I don't know if you can hear that. I'll try and... It's carbon fibre. So it's like a little hard shell that keeps Stumpy safe. It's moulded exactly to him. But you might be thinking it's a little bit longer than Stumpy. And that's because I had a little like block put at the bottom. So your bone is obviously here. A kick to the end of that is just like a kick to the elbow. You get a sensation a bit like when you hit your funny bone, and all my nerves are there as well. So it's like if I can avoid that sensation, that would be 10 out of 10. So we put a little gap at the bottom. So my prosthetic is fully moulded, and then my arm can't shift further into it because it goes narrow, but it's got a tiny little buffer almost that if I get knocked, it's not hitting straight onto the bone. So that's why it's a tiny bit longer. So I went to get my cast done, received my socket. I swear this is called a socket. I keep questioning myself. I received my socket, went to try that on, and it was the most comfy thing I've had, which is why we're now redoing my gym prosthetic using this exact mould, because it was just so much more comfortable than the old one. And then we were like, well, it's fine that it now protects my arm, but other people are obviously going to kick my arm. How do we protect them? So we've got 2 thick sheets of foam. So I don't know if you're going to be able to see this, like it's really squidgy. Like I don't think kicking this would hurt at all. It's so thick. And then in order to seal that up, especially if it's like a sweaty environment, might get wet, we coated it in like a fake leather, and I chose the whitey grey sort of colour because that's the colour of all of my other gear, so it just made sense. I didn't really want it to stand out that much. My gym arm that's coming is a really bright colour because I was like, oh, in the gym, like who cares? But for TaeKwonDo it felt a bit more professional, so we went for white. So I haven't actually tried this all on yet. It's literally arrived in the post today. So this is how we do it. So I utilise my knee again. Try and not get rid of one of these, they're ideal. Balance it on, and it should go on fairly easily. So we just slot it in. You sort of go in like this and then twist your arm into it, if that makes any sense. For my first prosthetic, I used to struggle so much with the concept of putting it on and off, and then you just really get used to it. So it's not got an awful lot of movement to it. I can, like that's the sort of movement I get in it. We cut down here quite deep. So it was originally like this, but we cut into it so that I had this range of movement, because in TaeKwonDo you block your belly button basically. That's what you're trying to guard when people are kicking you. So to be able to move my arm to cover my belly button was important, because otherwise I'm just not guarding myself and there's no point in this whole thing. So I'm 10 out of 10 happy with this. It's a little late birthday present for Stumpy. It's so comfortable, and I can't wait to actually use it. The pandemic has meant no fighting. My legs, sadly, I wasn't blessed with 2-point-something metre legs, so I can't socially distance scrap anyone, and strangely no one in my family has stepped forward to become my new sparring partner. So as soon as I can spar, I'll sort of show you this in action. That'll be my sort of time where you see if there's anything that needs slightly changing to it, if anything needs more padding, less padding, all of that, and my prosthetics team will basically adapt this for me. But it's so well made, and I'm so excited about it. I'm really excited to show my TaeKwonDo friends. It feels like, you know, in school when you'd get like a new backpack or something, or a new lunchbox, and you just had to show your friends. This next part, this is the best feeling, getting this bad boy off. Oh, Stumpy feels free again. So that is my new prosthetic. If anyone's got any questions, I think because I go to prosthetics appointments all the time now, I have sort of become like, although it's my favourite appointment, you sort of forget about the excitement and the things you didn't know about when you first went into these appointments. So if people have got questions and they want this sort of stuff covered, and I just might not think it's that interesting, but it actually is, please do let me know. I definitely know I'm getting a gym arm soon. That's in the process of being made now, and once that's done I'll show you that side of things. And I'm also in talks about another prosthetic, so if that happens, that'll probably be one of the most exciting things that's ever happened to me. So I'll take you on that whole journey if that pans out, but I can't say anything at the moment. It's quite simplistic, but it shows you that the like most simple design could make such a big impact. And arm prosthetics are so far behind of legs, so little things like this make such a difference. I might do a video at some point about all the prosthetics I was offered, because it was one of my favourite hospital days ever, and I was in hysterics. I thought I was going to wet myself, to be honest, at the different things that have been designed over the years for people with an upper limb amputation to do, so maybe I'll cover that. So thank you so much for watching. If you've got to this point in the video, well done. I hope my face didn't scare you too much, and as always, if you like this, please like and subscribe. It lets me know what sort of content people actually want to see, and any video suggestions please put down in the comments below. I'm probably off for lunch and then a second nap, so I'll see you later.